Here's another bit of information about the House of Commons for you. My husband has got up the cafeteria, the terrace cafeteria menu for yesterday. These are the prices. Now listen. British leek and potato soup, £1 and a penny. Grilled cod with marsh too, broccoli, caper and parsley salsa, £4.35. British beef and potato paprika goulash with rice, £3.83.
Braised rice, dear. Braised rice.
Braised rice, sorry. Braised British lamb's liver and onions, £3.19. A vegan steamed mixed fruit suet pudding with custard, £1.12. Now where could we go and eat lunch for them prices? You tell me. Now would they let us into that cafeteria as taxpayers? No.
Worthwhile if you can win the battle.
Exactly.
The long run or the moral, take the moral ground.
It's always worthwhile if you can win the battle, right? 100%.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Building castles in the sky. He's a lonely boy out on the weekend, trying to make it pay.
So I've got at least 2016, haven't I?
What's going on in the conference centre just
Okay, like Bismillah in the name of Allah, the deity, I'll try, don't do mistakes. Leonardo, you see. Leonardo is an Italian company in here as a base in Edinburgh.
Leonardo, you can't hide!
You're supporting genocide! Leonardo, you can't hide! You're supporting. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman.
George Dinas! George Dinas!
Genocide, if you're innocent.
You have the right, killing people!
Show some.
de dar la vuelta por el camino. Ese camino que iba antes se iba para abajo.
She took photos to send her mates.
Aye. Of his naked body.
Yeah, and I did so willingly.
Yep. Aye. I was in the picture as well. Then she was like, get the picture in.
Spreading the joy. Bring some old ladies some happiness.
She was wanting to spread joy all over your body.
I'll be live on What the X without these guys.
Boo.
At 6 p.m.
There's the sun over there.
Tell us about this tune.
It's fucked. It used to be great, but it's fucked.
What happens?
Just fucking gentrification.
Gentrification.
Gents? Aye, well, I've just been to the ball game, so I had the piss in my mind.
Oh, what are you saying?
Well, I'm saying it's fucked, and it's just ruined, eh? All these fucking cunts moved in, bought up everything, charge extortionate amounts of money for fucking and then none of them live here. They're all rent out to some other country.
Have you heard this new term that I've heard?
What's that? Cunt.
Well, no. It's Willie.
Willie Turner.
No, Willie. Right. This is. Have you heard this?
Well, that's what we used to refer to as
Work in London, live in Edinburgh.
you heard it here first, folks.
Fucking
Cunts.
You might call yourselves Willies.
We call them cunts.
We call you fucking cunts.
No good ones either.
Anyway.
Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street.
I see that moon rising. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning.
Let me take you to a place I know you wanna go. It's a good life. Hey, yeah. I don't wanna stand around and beg you. Just don't say no. No.
Miguel says something here which is worth saying. Don't hold your breath. Stuart Cosgrove, the personification of Scottish patter, will still be on the radio in 20 years' time. I'll tell you something about Stuart Cosgrove, right? Stuart Cosgrove is like a sort of protected species. He's like a protected. There's an awful lot of people, they need indie ref to continue to exist in some form, to give them some sense of relevance. And what would be good is if they actually just f***ed off somewhere. Let them give them there's an awful lot of people, they need indie ref to continue to exist in some form, to give them some sense of relevance. And what would be good is if they actually just f***ed off somewhere. Let them give them an island in Scotland and let them have their own wee Scotland there. And just fucking leave us all alone. To like Mike Small, fucking Leslie Riddick, all the folk for the National, Neil Mackay, that guy that writes for the Herald, and that, all these idiots. Just give them a place, give them a wee island somewhere. And go there, you go. There's your wee Scotland. Fuck off. number of bloggers saying independence wasn't just about the SNP over the
I've even got a dent off that, mate. Somebody want to phone us an ambulance?
Birds of a feather, we should stick together. I know I said I'd never think I wasn't better alone. Can't change the weather, might not be forever, but if it's
Alex Salmond is capable of some things, I'm sure, but you know, remote violation. That is something, like, you know what I mean? Even the Israelis would be impressed with that, like, you know. But Murray wrote a story. Murray wrote a story using a particular brand of marmalade to basically insinuate. This is true. This is Scotland. This is modern Scotland. A guy got jailed, right, for like a period of time. Put in Saughton, right, because he wrote a story about marmalade.
Tell me you're in Clydebank without telling me you're in Clydebank.
Well, this.
Oh, Trump's golf course in Scotland just got f***ed up by vandals. So last night, some Scottish folks visited Trump's Turnberry Golf Resort in Scotland to tell them what they think about his plans to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Now, this comes after Trump has promised to, quote, clean out the whole thing, seizing someone else's country and turning it into the Riviera of the Middle East. So take a look at some of the damage here on the golf course. They painted "Gaza is not for sale" in 10-foot letters on the green. They spray painted the whole building, and they absolutely tore up the grass on the course's most prestigious hole. Hey, that's what I call my wife. Now, the group that did this is called Palestine Action, and they said, quote, "No longer can ordinary people sit by whilst the American administration arms Israel and makes plans to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Palestine belongs to Palestinians."
Can you hear me now? I don't think you could hear me there. Morning to you, Sharpie. The prestigious hole was pure cringe, but other than that, it was. I thought it was fair play to illustrate something or other. Where are we here? There's so many. Morning to you all. There's a whole raft of you. Can't hear you. I like that. I like it when folk are like, sort it out. I'm sorting it out. Mystic Peg. I think we should all give Mystic Peg a wee nod this morning. Bairns starving and meanwhile in the House of Commons. Exactly. I'll try and plough through all these. Monty, Rebecca, Radical, Agendalist Collective, Mono. Walking back to the house now. Why can I not see what's quite windy? I like it when we get our weather reports. Morning to you, Nigel. Right, okay. A rabble. A veritable rabble. So, I hope everybody's well. It's chill. It was a nice weekend, wasn't it? It was sunny. Well, I don't know, wherever you are, wherever we're there. Rebecca Radical is asking, how is everyone today? Let's have a heads up. How are you, Rebecca? I hope you're dandy. Has anybody listened to the Gyro Babies' new album? I have not, because I haven't had a chance. But I've heard the tracks that I've heard are brilliant, and I'm looking forward to listening to it. I noticed that Mark was saying that he was trying to release it in a kind of novel way, in that he was being a bit more sparing in how he's trying to let people hear it, which I think is reasonable. I can't emphasise enough how important it is to support the art and artists that you like, that are independent and not connected to mammon, to the monstrous mammon. Madame Guy says, yes, it's great. Everything I've heard from it so far is brilliant. Spring has sprung. Well, I'm going to join you in the van later because I'm Baltic here. It's cold. But fair play, it was nice. It was nice yesterday. We went for a walk down on Yellow Craigs on Saturday. It was beautiful. And everybody was out with their dogs and their bairns and all that, and life goes on. The circle and cycle of life. Anyway, there was a few things happened over the weekend that I thought were kind of quite interesting and quite revealing. Quite the revelation. So I thought, well, now I'll try to do too many things at once here. But let's have a look, shall we? I thought that when I looked on my X a minute ago, it wasn't working. So I hope it's working now. Be there or be square. Couldn't agree more. Who is that? Use the empty musings of a stunted mind. It seems to be working now. What's Bella saying? This is true of the discourse here, which talks of the intolerance of the left, while state violence and sadistic government policies against the most vulnerable are rolled out. Maybe Mike should consider what the left is, because it's the left. Have we got the energy to get into it right now? No. I think a lot of liberals think they're left. I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem that we've had for a long time. But Freddie, far left Angus Robertson, the brainworms are plump inside this fucking idiot's head. That's what you get, you get all that thing. It's always annoyed me. Sort of right-wing morons going on about the far left when it's like they're talking about kind of like liberal twats. It's like, Christ almighty, eh? Come on, get it right. I'm the fucking far left. Me. It's what I mean. You did hear you talking about me. Anyway, I wanted to look at the what's left. Barney Farmer. So where was my starting point? Let's get to it. So where's how do I get to it again? First of all, let's go to bookmarks. Oh no, I know what. Actually, I see what I'm talking about. What's going on? The so-called tolerant left. What is this? Well, I guess we're going to have to get the Scrabble board out or something. Oh, here we go. We're just moving at a particularly slow pace. Badu, eh? Can't he beat a bit of Badu? Right, where is he? Aye, that guy with his where he goes, the most prestigious hole. That's what I call my wife. I'm like, come on, pal, fuck's sake. Right. Twitter is down. Is Twitter down? It might be. So this was the vibe, right? With Palestine Action. It's just Trump's. And I think if I go to my replies, actually, I don't reply to many people. Oh, come on, eh? Is this what we're in for this morning? Twitter down for me too. Right, we've got a twatter disaster, but we'll manage. We'll manage despite the technical problems. Look at this is perhaps an example of how reliant we've become. Oh, this guy, right? So this was this Neil Drysdale. I don't know who Neil Drysdale is. He seems to have. He's a writer. He seems to be like some sort of, I don't know. He's basically a writer guy, but it's been a good one for exposing kind of liberals who. It's like Phil Ox's classic song, you know. Phil Ox was a brilliant sort of artist. Well, wasn't he a sort of artist? He's a brilliant artist. You might be familiar with him. Another chap who checked out too early, who unalived himself on the, you know. But he was a brilliant artist, and he kind of folk singer, protest singer, but he wrote a great track called "Love Me, I'm a Liberal" in the '60s, I think, you know. And brilliantly encapsulated the behaviour of liberals, you know. And this golf course desecration has brought out all the reactionaries, and you know, it's like, I think it's worth. That's what I thought. You know, I wanted to sort of like look at this morning and sort of have a wee scan of what we think about this. Because so there was this guy here, Jamie Docherty. Now it gets personal. So Jamie Docherty, I looked, as a follow shite football teams and sometimes play golf. Presumably Jamie's this chap in the middle. I don't know. You know, it's like but Jamie Docherty here is. Oh wait a minute, he's saying something about Hibs. Absolutely no time for the glory-hunting Hibs bastards travelling through today. Jambos in the semis, unlike yourselves. How many unbeaten? Get home, silly cunts. Jambos are away to Hampden. So he's a Jambo. Don't be surprised. A Jambo, Trump-loving, golf-playing, fucking diet-hunt cunt. We ain't get to fuck Jamie. You got cuffed in the derby. That's all that matters. Anyway, look at this. Now it gets personal. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Now it gets personal. Because they've had a golf course vandalised, you know, a golf course owned by Trump, and they've dug up the green, you know, and this is like fucking the worst thing that's ever happened. Have we got any comments on X here? Jamie is the Grand Slam of Scud Bookery. What is the tune on the noun? It's a thievery. It's a great thievery corporation mix, actually. It's not quite Dub Monday. It's a sort of it's a general dub vibe. This is brilliant. Beldam once again just he just steals it. He just gets it right in there. He just goes. Centrism's idea of direct action is Steve Bray and his megaphone, or those fannies who project wank puffing on the side of a building. Yeah, they're led by dickheads, fucking useless twats. So basically, yeah, right. But the other one that was quite interesting over the weekend. So we've had like, you know, I liked that this guy Kenny Patterson. He's got 1.7 million views, and from what I could see, it was like everybody was enraged by it, and I liked it. I liked that he didn't. He just posted kind of without comment. He just put Turnberry this morning, you know, this kind of like the scene of devastation, you know, like the morning after, like, you know, my God, have you seen? It's like they sprayed some red paint on the clubhouse, dug up the green, and put Free Palestine on the page. You know what I mean? You'd think that they'd fucking held the people hostage and shat in their mouths, like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's insane, like, you know. But I like this, like, you know, now it gets personal, which is like, so I thought it was quite interesting because I'd had a few exchanges with people. I had an exchange with a guy on here, Del, who I like Del. Del's an Edinburgh guy. He's obviously quite conservative in some of his positions, and some of it, on other stuff he's not. And I think that's the weird thing, where it's like, or just the general vibe with politics and culture and society. You know, you're not going to agree with people on everything, but when it comes to this particular issue, you know, I'm firmly on the side of Palestine action. I thought of all of the protest, and I've always had a bit of a problem with the Just Stop Oil lot, because I just haven't really felt that their protests have been particularly relatable, and they are insufferably middle class. You know, whenever you hear them, Turnberry has fallen. Totally. The Just Stop Oil stuff and that, I've always found it really, it's never really clicked for me, you know. Tabitha and Sebastian, you know, holding up traffic and that is just too much. But I think that in this particular instance, you know, this is Trump's golf course. Trump, you know, endorsed that ridiculous AI video of, you know, turning Gaza into the river, which is, personally, I think that's just kind of, a lot of that is just provocation and big talk and stuff. I don't know how much veracity there is in this plan, although it's hard to say. But we know that Netanyahu has, the Israelis have cut all electricity to Gaza yesterday. I don't know, the now it's personal comment reads tongue-in-cheek. It does if you want to read it tongue-in-cheek, but after you've read what a Jambo twatty is, he means it. I'm sticking by that. But maybe you're right, Caravaggio. Maybe you're right. So this was the one that annoyed me a little bit. Is this the armchair teapot? Bath. This, you know, Scotland's most famous pro-independence, anti-independence warrior in the land of Bath, like, you know. So Campbell, Loki, obviously. Now I like Loki. I think Loki. Not only do I think Loki is a good artist, as a performer and an artist and a rapper, I think he's a very competent artist, and he's made some great music. He's made some great stuff. But he's also massively dedicated to the Palestine issue, and always has been. It's kind of been his core issue as an artist, and I've no reason to have any. I feel that him and David Miller and various other people throughout the last 15-16 months, they've been relentless. John Cusack, people like that, and they've maintained a profile, and they've maintained a position, and they've tried their best to look at how many journalists have been killed in Gaza. It's a disgrace. How many how many what do you call it, like ambulance drivers and people working medics and stuff. It's just been relentless. We've had this sort of period. Obviously. Slightly different issue, if you're aware of what's going on in Syria at the minute, that's horrendous, terrifying. What have I done here? I've kind of crikey. That's awful what's going on in Syria. But the people like Loki, personally, I think have done a stellar job over this last 15-16 months, and these are. I don't have any reason to call into question the integrity of somebody like Loki as an activist, for example. And like I say, this Trump Gaza attack on Trump's golf course has, as an act of direct action or provocation, has gained global attention, which is exactly what you want from that type of action, because most reports about Palestine, most reports about what's going on in Gaza are utterly skewed, suppressed. We're living in a time of complete media perversion, and we know that the Zionist Israeli tentacles reach into every facet, every nook and cranny of our mainstream media and all the rest of it. I've personally, my entire social media has been completely compromised as a result of my desire to pursue this issue in my own small way. It's caused me a lot of problems, even in my own way, And I'm not one of these activists who are like getting arrested, try to shut down arms manufacturers or weapons parts manufacturers, of which there's a lot of young people currently in prison, because they've been willing to put themselves on the front line for that. And respect to every single. If I was a young person and this was going on, I would the type of person I was in my sort of late teens, early 20s, I'd probably be in the nick. That's a fact. I'd probably have been right down there with these cats fucking smashing windows and all the rest of it, Anyway, I thought it was interesting because Stuart Campbell, the Wings Over Scotland guy, goes to Loki. Loki goes, Palestine action has marked Donald Trump's golf course in Scotland. Gaza will not surrender, and neither will we. It just seems like a pretty reasonable statement. Here comes Campbell. Yeah, fuck off to Gaza and fight then. Because Israel doesn't give a shit about you wanking around on some guy's golf course in Scotland. Right? That's what that guy who one of the things that Campbell did that always kind of pissed me off was he wrote this really poorly put together article where he tried to compare the Scottish experience of being, in his opinion, a colony of England. That the Scots were akin to what in the slavery times would be called the house Negro, right? So he coined this term the house jock, which I thought was a really pathetic comparative. And then all these Scottish nationalists start using this term, which is a really kind of vulgar interpretation of where the origins of that term lie. He's the guy that coined that term. So it kind of shows, it's like if he wants to sort of dilute the Scottish experience into some sort of like make these false equivalences about slavery and colonialism and all the rest of it, and then he wants to attack people who are trying to stand up against essentially the last, or the only sort of colonialist, settler colonialist project that's still active globally, as far as I'm aware. It calls into question his intellect, or his motives. And I think what his motives are is that a lot of his followers and stuff are either sort of right-wingers or quasi-Zionists or otherwise. You'll see a lot of people you'll see a lot of people supporting him in that. But just in general, you know what I mean? Like to attack somebody like Loki like that and to speak in those terms, it's just a really clear insight into who that individual is. I'm not even going to really get into it, but I think that I was like, wow, there you go, there you go, because I think the other one was the people getting really outraged about the sort of damage to the property and stuff, which again, it's kind of like you're going like, well, you're going, hold on a second, it's almost like where was the other one? The other. Is it in my bookmarks? Anyway, there was just a sort of a real kind of strange reaction about the fact that this property had been damaged, and I'm glad that his property was damaged. In fact, I wish they'd burnt his fucking golf course down, It's like, burn it down, who gives a fuck, Wings has let himself down there. Wings has let himself down in countless places, hundreds of thousands of times, and people like you, Sky Blue, who seem to continually feel that he's worthy of some grand defence, always puzzle me, quite frankly, because if you can't see it, if you can't see what he actually is, that's up to you. But he's only ever been one thing. He's been an opportunist. He's made a lot of money out of the whole thing. It's now died a death. And this idea that they say, he's, look, I'm not even going to get into it, right? I've said what in the places he deserves to have some sort of, acknowledgement, fine. But if he's going to talk, there's a genocide, right? We've watched a disproportionate response. It's disgusting. There are incomprehensible amounts of dead children. There are incomprehensible amounts of maimed people. That people's lives are ruined forever. The collective trauma of those people is beyond comprehension. It's off the limits. It's probably going to ramp up again in a minute. They've cut the electricity. There is only one side. Zionism is Nazism. Zionism is Nazism. That's why Angus Robertson shouldn't be in a job. There's a big failure across the whole of Scottish culture. The fact that the Scottish middle classes, who are apparently pro-Palestine, the fact that the liberal middle classes of Scotland and those in the arts and stuff. I was speaking to a director last week. I was speaking to a Scottish director. And I was saying, what do you think about the situation with Angus Robertson? What do you think about the situation that Angus Robertson is still in a job? And he said, well, there was that opportunity to get him out the job in that first week after he met the Zionists, and nothing happened with it, and so that's a complete failure. And it is a complete failure. It's a disgrace. They do not have a leg to stand in. Anybody who wants to be in Scottish arts at the minute, and who's any person in the Scottish arts who's either subsidised by the state or an actor or whatever, and they go and get their picture taken with Angus Robertson, you're taking your picture with a Zionist. You're taking a picture with somebody who's complicit with the genocide, no matter what they say. And it's disgraceful. Angus Robertson shouldn't be there, and it's a complete failure, and it just shows the corruption of the Scottish middle classes and the Scottish bourgeois electorate, and those that are also essentially those that are either in the pay of the SNP somewhere along the line, or that are just kind of like tedious Scottish exceptionalists, It was a complete missed opportunity to send a message to say that we're opposed to this disgraceful, disgusting act of inhumanity that just is continuing to unfold in front of us. What other action can people take? The world is captured by Israeli apologists and supporters. Absolutely, John McFadden. I always get the feeling he has a freezer in his garage full of male human heads he's tried to make female, I'm sure. All about the filthy lucre. He has done some great work attacking the journalists. I don't have to agree with everything he says or does. That's cool then. So is it alright that he's basically a quasi-Zionist? Is that cool then? So you didn't have... It's alright, we'll just pick and choose what's cool in that. So when he attacks somebody who's pro-Palestine, that's alright, is it? And that doesn't deserve complete and utter condemnation. Like, get it straight. What is it that he does? You think that's alright then? Is that cool? Because I didn't think that's cool. I didn't think that's cool. It's like we'll just look over the fact he's essentially a quasi-Zionist tugging off the fucking Israelis, right? We'll just pretend that doesn't happen. He said fuck all about the genocide, and that's the thing. Most people who have got essentially sort of platforms, cultural capital. I was talking about this the other day. I was saying, see somebody like David Murray, for example. How many are protesting outside the embassies of the nations responsible? Quite a lot, to be honest. If you go to any of the Gaza Emergency Genocide Committee or the Palestine protests in Edinburgh over the last year or so, pretty much most of the time they march to the US Embassy, and they have a lot of course, he deserves condemnation for saying that. Well, I hope that you join in that condemnation, then, Sky Blue. And tell him what a fucking piece of shit he is for doing something like that. It's disgusting. It's reprehensible, because this is what John McFadden's saying. There's very little. What we essentially have collectively as a culture is a sense of impotent rage, right? There's very little that we can actually do. We can affect change at the ballot, which is a slow process for people to come to realise that that's something that they can do. And so we can do that, or we can have protest, or we can have acts of direct action and provocation. So if we have acts of direct action and provocation, for example, where Trump's golf course gets pissed on and it makes global news, that's a win. That's a win for Palestine Action. Well done to Palestine Action for doing that. And then you've got liberal arseholes like that guy condemning that action. It's like, hold on a minute here. Israel's position is indefensible from a moral, from a human perspective. There's nothing else you can say about it. It's gone. Like, we're well over the edge. You know, the apologists. The point I was making there about David Murray. So you've got somebody like, is it Douglas Murray, not David Murray, not somebody David Murray. I see David Murray. You're here. I don't know who you are, David, but nice to see you. Wings blocked me when I mentioned his silence on Gaza. Wings blocked me too. Since unblocked but not allowed to comment. So the fact is, no, Douglas Murray. If you look at somebody like Douglas Murray, you know, the most repugnant, reprehensible, you know, ectoplasm of privilege that's ever been shat out into our consciousness for a long time, you know, a thoroughly, you know, a disgusting bastard, you know, somebody that you would take no, you would never tire of punching him, you know what I mean? But Murray has been given like a huge amount of airtime over the last 15 months or so, you know, to espouse his bile, you know, his absolute putrid, racist, xenophobic, disgusting bile, you know. And because of what we've had, which is a complete state of cowardice from liberals, and you know, nobody in the arts or people who have traditionally, you know, rushed to have their opinion be heard on all matters, social and political and cultural, have just crawled under the woodwork over the Gaza issue. So we haven't had anybody of any significant or any particular prominence who's got a biting tongue, you know, that's got a high profile to basically take on Murray. You've had perhaps people like low-key activist people like that occasionally given the opportunity, you know, to spar with these people on some horrible sensationalist crap like Piers Morgan or something. But we haven't seen any public intellectuals as such, or anybody with a high profile who would maybe be traditionally expected to represent a left position or a cultural position really take on somebody like Murray. And I think that says a lot, and you can reflect on that. You know, I've obviously got my own opinions about this, but the genocide and Israel's behaviour has really been the marker point, and for politics, society, and culture, and I think it will continue to be so. You know, this is far from over, but how we think about it, you know, I guess it's a question that we have to look all in ourselves, especially for those of you who are parents. You know, when you look at the most important thing in your life is your child. You know, you spend your whole time beholden to it. You got, you know, it's a massive deal. You have a child, and it takes, you know, that becomes your life. And you've witnessed these people, you've witnessed their lives just eradicated, destroyed, you know, in ways that are incomprehensible on a scale that is beyond comprehension. And the very least you would expect from, you know, people of sound mind and conscience would be to have a bit of dignity in how they approach that and how they respect the people that are opposed to that. And I'm not really interested in, if somebody like Campbell wants to speak to somebody like Loki like that, as far as I'm concerned, that's you, pal. You're calendar material. Why would you know, what are you going to say now? What have you got to say on any matter? What, Saturday where women won't wish, or the trans thing? You know what I mean? Back to your obsession with men with cocks, like men in dresses, because that's your thing. That's your big kink that you publicly exhibit yourself on every day of the week. You know. I really don't think that person deserves any respect whatsoever because of how they've operated on this particular issue. You know, this is the defining issue of our time. You know. Let's take a wee moment, a momentary pause.
Hey guys, it's been ages. I thought I'd take you for a walk with the dog. Let's go. Just time to take a look at the dumped wheelbarrow wheel. Ah, yes, I love it. Freddie loves to piss on a wheelbarrow wheel. Keep off! It's time to check out the golf ball. It's the golf ball. Look at the beautiful river. That's the Victoria Bridge. This wall's looking a bit worse for wear. Hey, I've always wondered what these brackets are for. Maybe you know. Look, there's one on the gate as well. And another one. It's like some sort of cabling system. Isn't this fun? Up here, there's another bridge. It's called the Nungate Bridge. That takes you to the Nungate. The Nungate. Look, there's Swan Island, but the swans have fucked off. Or one of them has, and it killed one of the geese. So now, I think we've only got one swan and one goose left. Oh well, birds are overrated. Look, they don't talk to each other, just sit there in silence. This is the Nungate Bridge. Echo! Oh, bloody kids. So yeah, now we've just got one swan and one goose. That's what happens when you don't get along. Oh, it's a bit windy, but then it is Scotland, yeah? Anyway, that's me on a dog walk. Hope you've had fun, because I certainly have. Let's go.
Showing no sign of actually wanting to come down at all. We know that he has been taking videos of his progress and of his time sitting up on the side of Elizabeth Tower. We know that his feet have been bleeding. We presume he's climbed up there in barefoot without any shoes on. He has throughout the afternoon been periodically resting his head on the stone that the flag is tied to, and he has been having a few snacks. We think they were some muesli or cereal bars through the afternoon as well, but negotiators, as you say, up there on the cherry picker at the moment trying to negotiate with him to come down. They've been offering hot drinks, for example, as perhaps a way to try to entice him down, but he is quite adamant he says that he is safe up there. They don't agree and want him to come down straight away. And this is a very real possibility. There is a real possibility this could go on well into the night time. He said he doesn't want to come down, but police here on the ground at the cordon have said to me it's just too risky to try to go up and physically bring him down. Too risky for them and too risky for him.
I will come down on my terms. I've said this. But right now, I'm saying I'm safe. If you come towards me, you're putting me in danger, and I will climb higher. And I told you this from the beginning. And I feel fine. I'm safe. As we've said, I'm on a large ledge here. I'm safe. I'm not. I've stopped bleeding. They're small cuts. But that's the thing, I will tell you if I'm in danger, and I've said this, I will tell you if I'm in danger. I'm safe right now. I'm in the same position I have been. We've been having conversations earlier. I'm safe. You're the one, listen, you're the ones putting me in danger. I'm telling you this. You come towards me, you're putting me in danger. And I told you, if you come towards me, I have no choice other than to climb higher because I'm not ready to come down.
Ah, you're not joking. Welcome back to What the X. So, buy him a beer. That's a big pair of bollocks that guy has. Absolutely. And I think it kind of like ties into the same thing, you know. On the same weekend, we had the golf course got desecrated. And then this young dude climbed up Big Ben, you know, and I thought that was an encouraging thing, you know. It's like that was like the type of protest that I was glad to see again, you know what I mean? Like, and respect to that guy, you know. And you know, the same people who probably thought that it was outrageous that Turnberry got turned over probably thought it was outrageous that some guy climbed up Big Ben. And it's people like that who really need to take a long hard look at themselves. It's going like, you know, I made a point to somebody about there's a great documentary called The World Against Apartheid. I think it was on BBC 4 a few years ago, and it just, you know, it was a sort of chronological appraisal of the whole apartheid thing, you know. And one of the most significant episodes in it was the one about sport and how much direct action and protest against South African sportsmen and rugby teams and the rest of it had, how much of an impact that had, and it pissed them off big time, you know. It really bothered them, and especially in like when they done the New Zealand and Australia tour. There was all sorts of crazy stuff happening. They took the team bus and drove it away, drove the team onto like a roundabout somewhere, left that in the middle of nowhere. They went on the pitch, obviously they fucked up the pitch, they did all kinds of stuff. But those protests had a massive effect, you know what I mean, in raising the profile of the issue, and that's what we need. We need people to do things that are going to cut through and you know, arrest people's normal sensibilities about what's going on. It's like, this ain't normal, soldier. You cannot have this level of inhumanity just being normalised. That's what does my scorning. That's what makes me fucking mad, you know what I mean, that we've got to a point. So total more power to these people that are doing these, that are making these actions. You know, it's not the same as Just Stop Oil stopping people go to work in the morning and stuff like that. That's a different thing, you know. People might want to argue these are tied to bigger concepts of capital and all this. I get that, but to most people it's hard for them to get their heads around that stuff, you know. George Patterson says, the neutering of the traditional left in the UK has been perhaps the biggest win for the neoliberal parties. They can now do and say what they want with nary a challenge. Absolutely, that's correct, and that's why we have to try to oppose. We have to dispense with neoliberal party politics. You know, I've said it a million times. It's not just me that said it. Millions of people have said it. Loads of people have said it. But you know, that is the only course of action, that we have to oppose the political class. I noticed that there's a huge furore over the weekend at the minute with Reform and Reform are at sixes and sevens, and they're like, you know, they're tearing each other apart. That's just the standard internecine battles of any political organisation, political party, because Reform are just another neoliberal political party. They're just another bunch of political class opportunists. They just so happen to be banging the immigration drum, and that's the thing that's populist, and that's going to whip everybody up in a storm. Everyone's pissed off, no one's got any money. There are genuine issues with immigration, there are genuine issues with the policies in which they're dealing with these matters, you know. If you take 40 guys and stick them in a wee hotel somewhere, you know, you are getting places swamped with a whole bunch of folk who weren't there before, because some sketchy hoteliers basically got some, you know, faulty towers that they've suddenly got booked out for full, getting paid full money by the government, and they're happy to fill it full of immigrants and asylum seekers or whatever. So it's going to cause tensions. These are the small places, you know. It's no rocket science. But, you know, are all of those people that are in those hotels rapists, murderers, criminals and stuff like that? Well, that's another question altogether, isn't it, you know? It certainly doesn't help if they're getting stigmatised in that way. But then there's other situations where you can't also be so liberal that you just go like, oh no, these people are the salt of the earth and all the rest of it. It's like, it doesn't work like that. Life's more complicated than that. Let's have a wee look. Bob, my latest article, it did interest me, David Graham Scott, and I'll tell you why. Because you had, I think, I didn't read it all, but you basically, let's have a look at it just now. Can we read it? Damning evidence of state collusion with Nazi Germany to racially profile Caithness travellers as part of Tinker Experiment by David Graham Scott, the John O'Groat Journal and Caithness Courier, the hot journal of the Caithness Courier. Let's read this article. I don't think it'll take too long to read it, and I'm sure it'll be interesting, because I actually do have a bit of knowledge about this. I'm interested in this because I helped Lynn Tammy put together a wee video thing. Oh, I've clicked the wrong thing. Come on, fuck. And has it got the reader view? Can we use that? And I never knew nothing about this thing before. I never knew nothing about the Tinker experiments, and it's fascinating, and it's a total scandal as well. You know, it's something that we should all know more about. So let's just have a wee look at this article. A retired academic. I wonder, can I do it that way? Maybe I can. Tell what I have me in the way. I'll do it this way. A retired academic has leaked a report which she believes shows widespread state collusion over the visit of a Nazi eugenicist to racially profile Caithness travellers in 1938. Dr. Lynn Tammy is from a traveller background, and though retired from a position at the University of Dundee, now works as an independent researcher. Due to her heritage and academic knowledge, she was asked to sit on a scrutiny panel for a research document on historical aspects of the Scottish traveller community that revealed damning details of endemic prejudice at a state level. I took no pleasure from leaking this report, but felt I had to, in case any of the information, which could be embarrassing to the government, is redacted, said Dr. Tammy, who lives in Montrose and had previously done work on the trafficking of Scottish traveller children to Canada as part of a forced resettlement programme. The 80-page report was commissioned by the Scottish Government in 2023 and is yet to be officially published. Researchers at the University of St Andrews trawled through centuries of historical data to produce an in-depth analysis of the forced resettlement of Scottish travellers as part of a state-sponsored programme known as the Tinker Experiment. At a state level, they wanted to eradicate the culture, put them into concentration camps and remove the children, said Dr. Tammy. One area of the report outlines the visit of one of Nazi Germany's top anthropologists to Caithness in 1938 to racially profile traveller communities in the county. Professor Wolfgang Abel carried out anthropological research for the Third Reich with a particular focus on his attempts to situate gypsies and travellers as enemies of the Reich and a danger to the purity of the Aryan race. Dr. Tammy says that the report has details that will be embarrassing to the Scottish Government, such as the references to Wolfgang Abel's links to leading figures in the British establishment and the Royal Scottish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, the charity known as Children First. Abel was in Caithness studying travellers, and it was part of a bigger plan. There was an application for a return visit, but that was interrupted by the war. My fear is that the report was reducing this to a footnote. She said that the Nazi eugenicist and his team interrogated and carried out invasive examinations on members of gypsy and traveller communities in Caithness. The aristocracy were involved and knew all about it. There's a surprise. The church knew all about it, and the Archbishop of Canterbury met him, and the Ambassador to Germany, Neville Henderson, also met him. They were all involved, and not one of them said a word against him. People know what went on in Nazi Germany with the Jews and how they wanted to eradicate them. Wolfgang Abel was already involved in programs of sterilisation and euthanasia of gypsies. It was a Europe-wide plan to deal with race and purity. My thinking is that we'd be part of this, and that if not for the war, it would have started to kick in. So there's basically the drill. See this? I'll show you this wee thing. I had never known about it, right? I'd seen it earlier, so I had it on here. This was the Tinker experiments. And that if not for the war, it would have started to kick in. So it was like a crazy thing, right, where they took like traveller children and stuff, and they basically just forcibly removed them from their families and took them to these children's homes, and then they flogged these kids to the colonies. And when they went to like Canada and stuff, they were referred to as Scotland's little slaves. And it's a completely outrageous thing that went on for ages. It went on. It actually, if I'm correct, in some ways it went on up until the 70s. It was even in the 70s they were still exporting kids to like Australia or something from some of these children's homes. So well done to Lynn Tammy and David Graham Scott for bringing this to light. It really is a crazy and lesser known scandal in Scottish culture. Ukraine again is a nightmare. Oh, I've got some volume going on here. Right, so basically, direct action, is it worthwhile? Is there still Overlander? He was somebody that was getting, did I see that he had got upset about the Tinker experiments? He's always giving me a hard time about the pedophiles. I think he was one of the people that were upset by the disruption to Trump's golf course. I could be wrong. Did I not see? Oh, this. Okay, we will look at this. We will look at this because it's worth. I'll just take a quick look at it. Give us a wee second because I think that. I was trying to find his response. I'm sure he's basically said that this was not an appropriate protest or something like that. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought he was one of the cat. I've seen loads of people basically getting all upset. But there's another thing. See this whole. There's Ewan Morrison going on about. Was it probably going on about AI and that? See the whole thing with AI, right? I think there are loads of things about AI that are worth being maybe a bit concerned about or whatever. But I'm not being funny. Like all the artists I know, myself included, like everybody, most artists I know are enjoying using AI in their practice one way or another. So I'm not so sure about this whole kind of like, mad kind of like despair about how AI is going to destroy art and culture. I understand the questions of copyright are worth considering, but I don't know, man. Seen a lot of people. There's a lot of people like to talk a lot of shit when they've got no actual, they didn't actually do stuff themselves in a particular way. Maybe they're not working in the visual fields or something. I don't know. Just not convinced. Anyway, let's have a look at this because there are optics here that are worth considering. We'll just take a wee second. We'll just have a look. Where is it again? Here we go. Where was it again? Was it there was a classic, I don't know if it was a photoshopped, was it? It was Sturgeon's head with those women. I think it must have been a photoshopped image. I thought it is quite interesting, no matter where you sit on that issue. It's quite interesting. It's more a question of populism, isn't it? Sturgeon's rise and fall on public perception. Good point about AI. Yeah, it's a tool. It's like I know so many artists who are really enjoying using AI and AI tools, and it's allowing lots of people to do things in different ways. I've used it in various ways that I think is really interesting. It's also quite fun, I know, the whole AI music thing. It can fool you at times, but then it also can't. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it will become even more kind of like, But it's also like it kind of. I think the people that are making a lot of fuss about this, it's kind of exposing their ability to delineate between what's just sort of like, what's not put together, clearly using a myriad of different disciplines, or if it's just something that is like, being cobbled together by some computer thing, because you can tell the difference. You can totally tell the difference. I can't stand listening to AI music or AI songs unless it's something that a friend's done or something that's genuinely funny because it's got some sort of specific reference. You know, as soon as you hear like AI songs, like you skip that straight away because you're like, oh, fucking get to fuck, you know what I mean? Because it's just nonsense. It doesn't matter how, you know. But then there's other stuff. For example, I've got other mates who produce music, and they have made stuff, and they've taken the core of the AI thing and they've really worked on it. And you know, it's the same as when I was using Midjourney and that, when I was making that Fisher thing the other year there. It was about a year or so ago, and it was still at a sort of early stage. There was days I would spend literally days just trying to get exactly the image that how I wanted an image to look like. You know, there's a lot of time spent on that. So I'm not buying this idea that this is just some sort of like, it kind of goes back to the whole sort of ignorant perception of making dance music. You know, people would say, oh, you just push a button and it does it all for you. It's like, I never bother. There's no such thing as pushing a button and it does it all for you. Skilly G, AI is a great tool. Yeah, I don't care about copyright. Intellectual property is theft. All artists borrow or steal. I think within reason, I don't know if I agree entirely with that. You know, as someone who's had their arse felt by people, you know what I mean? It's I don't know about that, but I think once something is actually out there in the public domain, that's when it becomes a bit different. You know, because we've had like, you know, 3 or 4 decades of quality sampling. You know what I mean? That's produced a whole load of great music as well. You know. I'm sure there was something else I wanted to cover, but we've kind of reached the point. So what I would say is, have you bought your ticket for the 28th of March to come and see me live? Have you? And if not, why not? I haven't pushed this enough yet, but I will. Don't worry, I will. I will. Where's my when you I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about a bunch of things. And I'll be showing some previously unseen behind the scenes footage from things that I've done, and talking about this town, which I think is worth talking about. But yeah, if you've not bought your ticket, get your ticket. The tickets are selling well, actually. I'm quite heartened by that. So I've retweeted that. And if you like What the X, if you're one of there's 173 people watching What the X this morning on X, and we've got 40 in our chat on YouTube, and I think there'll be more watching there that aren't in the chat as well. We get a decent audience, live audience, for 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. I'm not going to go into the ins and outs and whys and where-nots of, you know, what's involved here, but there is a lot involved, and I've grafted at this since last August is when I started doing it. And so I appreciate it. You know, when there was a few people donated over the weekend there, respect to yourselves, it's much appreciated. You know, if you can put a few quid in the pot, or if you can join the Patreon, or you can support What the X, it is appreciated. I am going to do a specific What the X fundraise on my Ko-fi to keep it going. It's genuinely, to be honest, if I was to be perfectly honest, it's not really sustainable at present. It's but I want it to be. I've got great ideas about what I can do with this for the town, for local issues. But I think, you know, let me put drop the Ko-fi link to Brilliant Show today. Thanks very much, Opinion. We do try. But I understand times are tight, but you know, there's other cats. I ken there's cats with a bit of $1 and that. Come on, don't be shy. Spread the largesse, spread the love. What do you want me to do? Is be some guy down in Bath slagging off fucking proper activists and that, and then expecting everybody to fucking toss me off, like, you know? Get to fuck. How do I share my page? How do I share my page? Share, copy link. Right, I'm putting it here. Right. Thank you very much. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the love. There's my good morning, Bob fam. Need to watch replay in the bar. But yeah, if you do enjoy what I do, I really appreciate the people. £3 isn't much to help the guy out, aye, for fuck's sake, aye. But if you can give me more than £3, then give me more than £3, eh? Come on, eh? But look, beggars can't be choosers, eh? But listen, before I go, there was something else I was wanting to talk about this morning. I'm sure I forgot. At the minute, because I'm working on this live and I've got stuff to do, I'm going to try and be back for Wednesday morning, but I may move Wednesday to Friday, but you'll just have to pay attention. That's half the fun of it, right? But I would like to be a lot more consistent in terms of when we know we're going to be here. That would be good. That would be good for everybody involved, wouldn't it? I can't find. Listen, so the Liam Barty is the person that I started off with that lovely little video that he's made of the perils of the distracting device. Liam's been making he's in Vancouver these days, and he's been making amazing little videos that are thought-provoking, for want of a better term, very thought-provoking. And but he's a great guy, so follow him on Instagram. I'll get links, I'll sort links out and stuff like that. Right, once again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Loved today's show. We'll definitely come along if we steal Greyfriars Bobby at the end and bring screwdrivers. Let's chorry the dog. Mind when we've done some great ones. When me and Norrie Harmon first started fanning around post referendum, we done one where we I used to cause chaos with the photoshops, and people thought they were new. I done one where I took loads of UVF murals and I made out like it was like for independence, like after referendum, and that went like viral and everybody thought it was real because folk are stupid. That Douglas Hensel guy, I think he's an actor, he was doing his nut about it. He's like, this is an outrage, this is absolutely terrifying, horrendous. It's like, calm down, pal, it's just a picture. And another one that we did was we got rid of Greyfriars Bobby. I think that was a wee bit later on, actually. I think that was Helen Bunker done that one for me back in the day. We took away Greyfriars Bobby, and I was like, I've just seen this get choried and stuck in a van, and they drove off, and everybody thought it was real for about 4 hours, until somebody was like, went up with their phone and was like, it's still there. But you know, just a wee bit mischief, eh? Can't beat it. Right, listen, thanks very much everybody for joining today. Joined the Patron Happy, Mystic Pig. Thanks again. Thanks Ari the Tix. I don't know what that means, but listen, have a good day. I'm leaving you with It's Dazza. This is really, I think Dazza's a brilliant artist. There's so many great rap Scottish artists, hip hop artists and that, rap artists, grime, whatever you want to call them, urban artists, whatever, but it's Dazza again. Really cool guy, and so this is Real Life by Dazza. I'll catch you all soon. Ciao.
Collins, you know what the greatest story is? It's the comeback story. Imagine yourself, a wounded soul with a broken confidence and having lost it all. But then, you pick yourself up. You rise from the ashes and the pits of anxiety and depression. You heal both physically, mentally, and emotionally. You get fitter, leaner, faster, and more mentally resilient. Against all odds, you vanquish your inner demons.
Ever waited on that sentence, feeling nervous in the courtroom? Can't describe the feeling when that cell door goes boom. Couple weeks in and your missus giving stress, and you're feeling insecure as someone in a bed. Sentence says they done yet, but your son should took his first steps. There's nothing you can do to make that shit hurt less. The crime it never paid if it took away your liberty. Gaff got spun, now you're sitting down the dignity. £18 a week for that sweeping and that mopping. Queuing for the kiosk screen to do your weekly shopping. Been a few months, you still wait do another 10. Wrote so many letters, things gone in in another pen. Really miss the simple things like home cooked dinners. Can't wait to hit the barber so the cunt can use the scissors. Lip date now is coming, so you're punishing the ways, but literally you're there when you're coming out the gates. My team stay winning, cause failure's not an option. I know man who won fights, but their freedom's what it cost them. Left a man stone cold, not talking Steve Austin. And sometimes your friend is the one that's worth watching. My 16's are stories, bro, and I'm an open book. Remember like 2 years ago I never got a second look, cause I remember being there, I couldn't look up. That's why I show love if you're sitting with a cup. If you know then you know, cause that shit's real life. The shit that leaves scars like you're cutting with a steel knife. And all the talk is cheap, but the pain is so expensive. And all the letdowns has got me apprehensive. The look upon my eyes, how can anybody fake it? And I ain't even there yet, I'm happy that I made it. I want a wife and the kids like my name is Michael Kell. I can't be pleading guilty at another court trial. Man, I've done some dumb shit that I regret. And bro, I've really gambled, not talking place to bet. Through the trials and tribulations, can admit that I was wrong. And you don't know what you have till you had what was gone. I want a hell up inside if it's wicked gets on a bong. With two bad bitches wearing nothing but a thong. I kinda hate myself cause I can't see my sons more. And as I'm getting older, I wish that I had done more. When all the dust was settled, it was time to clean up. I had to make a change whenever I was stuck. I was blinded by lust, but got 20/20 vision. Trapped inside my head was the worst place I'd been in. And you can take the best of me, don't disregard the rest of me. And I've been in the kitchen, but disaster was the recipe. I'm writing when I'm bored or I'm writing when I'm vexed. And I hope you get the message cause I'll never send a text.